Param Vijayate Śrī Kṛṣṇa Sankirtanam, total world victory of Hare Krishna. My name is Sitapati Danna.
And my name is Danna Devi.
And this is Bhagavad-gita as it is, chapter 2, text number 52.
All right.
Yes. Okay, now it says it's live on Facebook. Let me just do the sharing thing so people can see it all over my profile as well. Where's the share button on here? There we go. Share. You want to say something to people while I'm doing this?
Oh, I'm just distracted what he's doing. What can I say? It's another day to learn Bhagavad-gita. This is my second time reading Bhagavad-gita, and we're going to go through to the end. I'm so excited.
If you're watching this on Facebook, you can tag a friend or 10, share the good news, spread the good news of the Bhagavad-gita. You got someone who you think might benefit from hearing it, tag them.
Yeah.
Like, comment, subscribe, etc., etc. Spread the good news.
Always.
Here we go. Bhagavad-gita 2. Bhagavad-gita, the Song of God, as it is by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Chapter 2. Contents of the Gita summarized.
Sankhya Yoga.
Sankhya Yoga.
Yeah.
Text number 52.
I got terrible memory. But anyways. 100 times repeat it to me. I will
Very good.
remember it. Anyway, yeah, you go.
Yadā te moha-kalilaṁ buddhir vyatitariṣyati tadā gantāsi nirvedam śrotavyasya śrutasya yadā
When
te
your
moha-kalilaṁ
illusory within forest,
buddhiḥ
transcendental with intelligence,
vyatitariṣyati
surpasses,
tadā
over time
gantāsi
you shall go.
nirvedam
Callousness.
śrotavyasya
All that is to be heard,
śrutasya
all that is already heard,
cha.
also.
One of my favorite verses. Nirvedam, literally not knowing, without knowledge. What's disappointment? You want to do the translation, honey? Go for it.
When your intelligence has passed out of the dense waters of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard.
Purport. There are many good examples in the lives of the great devotees of the Lord, those who have become indifferent to the rituals of the Vedas, simply by devotional service to the Lord. When a person factually understands Kṛṣṇa and his relationship with Kṛṣṇa, he naturally becomes completely indifferent to the rituals of fruitive activities, even though an experienced brāhmaṇa. Śrī Mādhavendra Purī, a great devotee and ācārya in the line of the devotees, says, it's going to be a challenge, Sandhya vandana bhadramastu bhavatobo snanatubhyam namo O deva pitaraśya tarpana vidau naham shama shamyatam yatra kvapi nishatya yadava kulotamasya kam sadvishaha smaram agham harami tadalam manye kim anyena me. O Lord, in my prayers 3 times a day, all glories to you. Maiden, I offer my obeisances unto you. O demigods, O forefathers, please excuse me for my inability to offer my respects. Now, wherever I sit, I can remember the great descendant of the Yadu dynasty, Kṛṣṇa, the enemy of Kamsa, and thereby I can free myself from all sinful bondage. I think this is sufficient for me. Now this, in the second edition, says, I offer all glories to my prayers 3 times a day. I offer my obeisances to bathing.
Really?
Yep, he's saying this. He's like, hey, big up, total respect to praying 3 times a day. total respect to taking bath, big ups, respect to the demigods, are you all going to have to excuse me? Because I think it's enough for me just to remember Kṛṣṇa.
Right.
This next part will show you that. Here, you read this next part. Yeah.
The Vedic rites and rituals are imperative for neophytes, comprehending all kinds of prayer 3 times a day. Comprehending? Yeah. Taking a bath early in the morning, offering respects to the forefathers, etc. But when one is fully in Kṛṣṇa consciousness and is engaged in his transcendental loving service, one becomes indifferent to all these regulatory principles because he has already attained perfection. If one can reach the platform of understanding by service to the Supreme Lord Kṛṣṇa, he has no longer to execute different types of penances and sacrifices as recommended in revealed scriptures. And similarly, if one has not understood that the purpose of the Vedas is to reach Kṛṣṇa and simply engages in the rituals, etc., then he is uselessly wasting time in such engagements. Persons in Kṛṣṇa consciousness transcend the limit of Shabda-Brahma, or the range of the Vedas and Upanishads.
So you see, it's making the point there, right? The Vedic rites and rituals are imperative for neophytes, comprehending all kinds of prayers 3 times a day, taking a bath early in the morning. Madhavendra Purī, who was the spiritual master of Śrī Purī, who was the spiritual master of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Is that the other way around? No, I'm pretty sure it's that way. He prays like this, Sandhya Vandana Bhadramastu Bhavato Snana Tubhyam Namo. So Sandhya Vandana, Sandhya means the crossing over, the merging. So it means the dawn when the sun's coming up and night merges with day. It means the midday when the morning merges with the afternoon. And then in the dusk where the day merges with the night. The 3 sandhyam, the 3 Sundays of the day. Vandana means prayers. So he's saying, Sandhya Vandana Bhadramastu means good fortune to you. And then Bhavato Bo Snana means bathing. Yam unto you, Namaha, I offer my obeisances. Bodheva Pitaraṣya, the demigods and the forefathers, Tarpana Vidau, Naham Shama Shamyatam. So he's offering his obeisances to praying 3 times a day, to taking bath, to the demigods and to the forefathers. But Hayagriva in his rendition of it has misunderstood the meaning of this. Because he says, oh Lord, in my prayers 3 times a day, all glory to you. But that's not Madhavendra Purī saying. Madhavendra Purī is saying, hey, all glories, all good fortune to praying 3 times a day. And he's gone beyond that. No longer ritualistically praying. And he's just like, I will be condemned for having abandoned these things, but I don't care. If we have a look at the 2nd edition here, O my prayers 3 times a day, all glory to you. O bathing, I offer my obeisances unto you. O demigods, O forefathers, please excuse me for my inability to offer you my respects. Now, wherever I sit, I can remember the great descendant of the Yadu dynasty, Kṛṣṇa, the enemy of Kamsa, and thereby I can free myself from all sinful bondage. I think this is sufficient for me.
Right.
This here has captured it. Let's have a look at the editor missed the intended meaning. Yeah. O my prayers 3 times a day, all glory to you. O bathing, I offer my obeisances unto you. O the demigods, O the forefathers, please excuse me for my inability to offer you my respects. So the rendition in the 2nd edition is faithful to what it says here. I can understand this. Hayagriva hasn't understood what's been communicated, and he thinks, all my prayers 3 times a day, all glories to you. Well, it must be all glories to the Supreme Lord, right? He doesn't get it that this guy is speaking to praying 3 times a day and speaking to
But
bathing.
doesn't that say that, oh Lord?
Donde?
Can
No.
you just go? Oh, I'm sure it says, oh Lord.
No, it says, oh, my prayers 3 times a day. Here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Exactly.
But
My
he's
prayers.
he's talking to Kṛṣṇa, you know.
That's what Hayagriva has written.
Yeah, in my prayers 3 times a day, all glories to you.
But that's not what it says.
Okay.
And that's not what Prabhupada's manuscript says either.
Yeah. Okay.
Prabhupada's manuscript faithfully follows the Sandhya Vandana Bhadramastu. It means, astu means to you. So you know how you say namaste? Namaste means na, ma, not me, astu, not you. Namaste.
How this is in Sanskrit when you said, for example, male or
Mhm.
someone less, you know, I mean, a person goes to no Swami, but a sage,
Mhm.
and he says, "Oh sage, please bless me with your kindness or touch, whatever." They give a blessing, something else too, something else. So,
Well,
um,
in Bali, the greeting, and if you go to Bali, is you go like this to people. You go, Om Swastiastu. That's what they say. It's Om Swastiastu. It means good fortune to you. Swasti.
what is it like? Let it be, or
Let it be.
no, let it be.
Hare Krishna to Sharan Golda. Thanks for
Hare
tuning in.
Krishna.
It's eclipsing my face.
Mm.
Um,
The sun eclipsed.
mhm.
No, not a sun eclipse. Let be it. Okay, be it. Yeah, you ask for something and then bless you. So be it.
Om Tat Sat.
No, it's not.
Okay.
So be it. Yeah, anyway, sorry. That's good.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Well, so anyway, here
Mhm.
the conclusion is first edition wrong. Second edition closer to Prabhupada, closer to the meaning, objectively better in this instance of this particular edit.
Is it really wrong, or is just no?
It's wrong.
Wrongly translated.
It's wrongly edited. He's edited it and changed the meaning of it. This is one case where I would say that I would, in the 15% of changes that are the appropriate ones to make, I would include this one. Yeah, it significantly changes the meaning of this verse, its translation.
Okay. However, I like the way how it was put, like very poetic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not convinced.
No, not at all. The other one is like the actual devotional conclusion of
Okay,
Madhavendra
but I'm not
Purī.
talking about the devotional conclusion. I'm talking about how nicely it has been.
Okay, yeah, it is.
Poetical.
You know, it's such a small change when you look at it in the change set. It's like it just takes out these 2 words here and then changes that to a lowercase y and then puts in an O in front of that and makes it a lowercase y, and then it makes it what Prabhupada wrote and what it means. It's a very small change.
Yep.
That one there. And it's on point.
I offer my I offer my obeisances to you. That's a lowercase. To you
Yes.
who? Any person, or
No.
he's talking about Kṛṣṇa himself?
He's not. In the first edition, Hayagriva has mistakenly thought that Madhavendra Purī is talking to Kṛṣṇa. He's not.
Or is he talking to the demigods?
No, he's talking first of all to his prayers 3 times a day. Then he's talking to bathing. Then he's talking to the demigods and forefathers.
Really, it's like throwing himself like flowers for his prayers.
No, he's saying, please excuse me. He's saying, I don't want to offend you in any way. All glories to you. However, he's saying this is exactly Prabhupada's chosen a perfect understanding for this verse. You see here, when your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard, the śrutasya. And so Srila Prabhupada identifies this with the shruti, or the sound vibration of the Vedas and the Upanishads. And so in here, we have the description from a devotee of this stage. You know, most people are like, oh, I'm going to become a devotee. What does that mean? It means you've got to get up early and you've got to chant and you've got to do this, and you've got to do these things, and, you know, so many things that you have to do, right? So some people, like, they don't bathe, right? They're like, oh, I'm not going to take a bath. Now, I'm going to throw my own example from the New Zealand Parliament occupation. See, I lived in a tent there for 3 weeks, and I didn't take a shower for like a week or more at a time. But that's not because I don't want to take a shower. It's not because, you know, I'm just like in the mode of ignorance and like, oh, yeah, I don't take showers. Because, you know, when I have the opportunity to take a shower, I'll take a shower 2-3 times a day. No problem. But it was because there was some higher thing, which was, here we are and we have the opportunity to chant the holy name of the Lord and share this with so many people. And this is what we're called to do right now. So it's kind of like the person who doesn't bathe because they're in the mode of ignorance and the person who doesn't bathe because they're beyond something, they can look the same. So Madhavendra Purī and others, they have given up you know, the rites and the rituals and things of the Varnashram civilization. And so he's praying to the ritualistic activities of the Varnashram and of the Vaidhi Bhakti path. He's saying, I offer, you know, all glories to reciting mantras 3 times a day, morning, noon, and night. All glories to taking bath. All glories to the demigods and the forefathers. But I just think of Kṛṣṇa all the time now, and I just think that's enough for me.
Yeah, I guess that, I don't know, you know, there is a part, I think it was in the Gita, it's like the brāhmaṇas, they take baths, they cannot live without bathing themselves. That is part of like the cleanliness, right? Now, to a point when we see, you know, even here in Hiranyakashipu, he was performing such a severe austerities. He was so engaged in this that he wasn't conscious about his body anymore. In that sense, I can understand this, you know. It's not because they don't want, but it's beyond the mind, beyond the senses, beyond the body, and they are just in a higher platform. They forget their body. I can understand that. However, as here, you know, this is not for the neophytes to take it like, okay, pretend to be like in that state when it is clearly says, or obviously this is many psychological purposes here too. We can read from the material point of view. Being, you know, regulated with your morning wake up, your showers, your prayers, that trains the mind and the body. So there's a discipline there. Psychologically, you train your mind there, which has many purposes in that. Purposes and benefits in that too.
Purposes.
Purposes. I love that word.
Yeah, exactly. And so this is not for imitation.
No, not at all.
It's and that's why I think this is so important that the correct translation be in the book, because this is not a person who's like, I hate praying 3 times a day and I hate taking a bath. This is a person who is like, Sandhya Vandana Bhadramastu, Bhavatobo Snana Tubhyam Namo. So he's saying all glories to chanting praying 3 times a day. Bathing, I offer my obeisances unto you. Namo Tubhyam Namo. And then he's offering his obeisances to the forefathers and the demigods, but he's not going to be doing that stuff.
Yeah.
So he's like beyond that. Yeah, he's beyond it.
Although he got it, the translation, he got it not as correct.
Mhm.
This person, you can see in the way he composed this, he maintained his purity to that, although he got it wrong.
Mhm.
Look at even in his translation of getting it not correct. He said, "Oh Lord, in my prayers 3 times a day,
Mhm.
all glory to you." You see the faithfulness to that? Bathing, I offer my obeisances unto you. So you see the faithfulness is just you. Whatever I do, but it's all you. I love that. All demigods, all forefathers, please excuse for my inability to offer you my respects. Now, wherever I sit, I can remember the great descendant of the Yadu dynasty, Kṛṣṇa, the enemy of Kamsa. And thereby I can free myself from a sinful bondage. I think this is the sufficient for me. I just love it, like his faithfulness. Yeah. Oh, are you okay, baby? What happened? Did I say something that triggered your heart? Yeah. Yeah. Would you like to share?
Yeah, I was just thinking about how Hayagriva ended his pastimes, in this lifetime. Died from stage 4 cancer. Um, and he took sannyas before he left. He left the association of the devotees, and no one had seen him for a long time. He ended up in Goa, and he was like partially paralyzed from the cancer, and he was sleeping underneath an upturned boat on the beach. And one of the devotees went and found him there, and took him to the temple. And then he said, that Prabhupada wanted me to take sannyas, but I didn't do it. It's the only instruction that Prabhupada gave me that I didn't complete. Yeah. So he took sannyas. Because even though his translation is not correct to the inner meaning of the verse, it actually it does reveal another truth, and that is that even though the reading of the verse, the Sandhya Vandana Bhadramastu, that the Sandhya Vandana Bhadramastu, the object of the Astu is the subject of that is the object of that is the Sandhya Vandana. He's considered the object of Astu and Tubhyam to be Kṛṣṇa himself.
That speaks a lot about himself.
Yeah, and so what he's created there is it is the mood of the inner conception of the devotee performing this, because people say that, the establishment of varnashram dharma, it is the lower thing. And they would give as evidence something like this. Here's the conviction of Madhavendra Purī, and this is the mood that we should follow, which is, we will give up these things. But it's like we haven't even taken these things on, and we're going to give them up. And at the same time, Prabhupada says to establish this, it is the second half of the mission that has been unfulfilled. He's not completed, he's left it for us to do. And here is the mood of Madhavendra contained in this rendition by Hayagriva is it is the mood of Madhavendra Purī within the Varnashram system. So Srila Prabhupada's rendition of it is that, oh, my prayers 3 times a day, all glory to you. But Hayagriva has rendered it as, oh Lord, in my prayers 3 times a day. You see, to have access to the mood of Madhavendra Purī, following the conclusion of the second edition, one has to transcend or give up it places the two things in opposition with each other. Either praying 3 times a day and bathing, or going beyond that and doing these other things. But here we see praying 3 times a day and bathing and in the mood of Madhavendra Purī. Yeah.
It's quite heart touching. It's quite admirable, actually, when devotees like that are too faithful and loyal to the scriptures. And because of that, whatever translation, although it's not correct, the result is still pure. It's potent, and it's quite admirable. Very admirable. Compared to someone that is just trying to be the super very cookie.
Yeah. The second edition translation is closer to the Prabhupada's manuscript, but as you say, there's in the way that the second edition has been done, it has been done without. It's like an intellectual exercise. It's just clinical.
Very much.
Yeah.
Nice. Any more expansion on that?
Yeah, when your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you should become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. One of the imports of this is, as human beings, we're very much influenced by what other people think and say about us. It's like, oh, what will people think, about the chanting, They're going to the parliament and they're joining the anti-vax protests and they're chanting there, and we don't know what the public opinion will be. It's like, we don't care what it is. You know why? Because when your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. And you simply perform your duty. We're commanded to chant, so we will chant. And it's like, oh, but you don't have to chant there. It's like, you don't have to say anything about it. And if you are going to say something about it, you should say, Param Vijayate Śrī Kṛṣṇa Sankirtanam. Yeah, all glories to the Śrī Kṛṣṇa Sankirtan. Chaito Dapanamajanam Bhava Mahadevagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kaivara Chandrika Vitaratam Vidyuvada Jivanam. It is always auspicious. If you're going to say anything about it, then say that. Just repeat what Mahaprabhu said.
Yeah.
And so people who are attached, they're not indifferent to all that has been heard. And this is referring to the śrutasya, to the shruti. What to speak of gramya katha, the speaking of nonsense gossip and what people low not only low-born, but low-living, low lives.
Low intelligence, women.
Yeah, just like servants of the material energy, you know? As Prabhupada would say, the dogs may bark, but the caravan just keeps on passing. Yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me of a saying that I think posted many times.
Mhm.
It's kind of great wisdom, of course, in there. It's just like, if you don't have anything nice to say, just be quiet. What's the other one?
If you have a success story, then by all means tell it.
Okay.
If you don't, but you know what to do, then go out and do it. If you don't know what to do, but you know someone who does, then follow them. If none of the above, then just do whatever you want. But whatever you do, don't waste your time criticizing other people.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's from the Sitapati Samhita.
I bet.
You're thinking of another one?
Yeah, there was another one, but I'm just trying to structure it with bringing my memory back and structure
Just
it.
chuck it out there. I'll help you out. And pal, what did you say?
It's going to help you. You. If you see someone doing good,
Mhm.
something along the lines, don't stop it.
Yeah.
Just don't say anything that doesn't have any benefit to it, or at least don't hurt them, or something like that. Anyway,
There's another one which is similar to that, and it's like, the man who says that it can't be done should never get in the way of the man who's doing
exactly.
it.
That was yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Those who say it can't be done shouldn't get in the way of those who are doing it. What benefit is there in criticizing the devotees who are chanting at Parliament and saying, oh, you shouldn't be doing that? Better that you just say nothing about that. That's what I said to the GBC at the time. I said, look, best to say nothing about this. But if you are going to say something, you should say, all glories to Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which is the means of deliverance in the age of color. That's what you say. You don't come out and say, they don't represent us and we're all vaccinated. It's like, dude, you are off script.
How important would it be, all glories to Hare Krishna?
Yeah, 100%.
There is nothing else to it. There is no adding of this what is diminishing to it. It is just powerful. It is just perfect. All glories to Shri Krishna.
Everyone knows that in corporate communications. You have your point that you want to make, and you just make that over and over again. That's why with the devotees who went there, I was like, at some point, someone may stick a camera in front of our face and ask us or record a microphone. And it's like, what do you say? So I said to all the devotees, if they stick a camera or a microphone in front of you and ask you anything, this is what you say. You say, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the chanting of his holy names in the form of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is the means of deliverance in this age of Kali. That's it.
Yeah, add it more. Say the whole mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yeah.
In the age of Kali Yuga.
Is the means of deliverance.
Okay, yeah.
Well, I mean, we're out there chanting it non-stop, so, but yeah, also that too. But, you just have your point that you want to make, and you make that point, and you make that point, and you make that point, and you make that point. You don't use your 20 seconds of airtime to say they don't represent us and we're all vaccinated. It's like, that's not your message.
The funny story. Sending the lawyer a letter from the lawyer, or the lawyer sending you a letter saying, "Oh, we're not going to give the charity the money."
I know it really shows where the
it shows where they are. It shows what kind of people they are. Because here, Krishna will be anywhere, so Lakshmi Devi. Why to worry about it? If you are more powerful in what you do, if you are genuine with what you do, people will be very much so inspired.
Facts.
Touched, inspired, and what's the other one?
Moved.
And it's like, oh my God, I want to give as much as I want to these people because they're doing great service.
Yeah. Or not.
They feel empowered, they feel loved, they feel seen as a person. They're treated nicely as a human beings. And hey, we like to be treated nicely as a human being, right? Yeah.
It's funny because it's like, hey, we've got these people who, they will chant Hare Krishna no matter what. versus, no, we don't want that. We want the people who will do what the government tell them and what we tell them. It's like, anyway, that is what it is, and this is what this is, and there is nothing that can stop this, because this movement of Mahaprabhu is a hoitaki apatiyata. It's unmotivated, uninterrupted. It cannot be stopped.
Yeah.
It cannot, and we will be simply swept up in this. Mahaprabhu's mercy is so strong, particularly through his right-hand man, Nityananda Prabhu, his older brother, that it practically overrides the free will of the living entities. They have no choice but to go back home, back to Godhead. That's the special mercy of this golden age within the Kali Yuga that comes once in a blue moon, where we are now.
How lucky we are. Once in a blue moon. My gosh. The moon is blue.
Yes, very fortunate, Bhadra.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's next?
The verse. Yadā te moha-kalilaṁ buddhir vyatitariṣyati tadā gantāsi nirvedam śrotavyasya śrutasya. Actually, let's look at one thing before we go. One more thing.
Okay. Stop me there halfway.
Yeah.
No problem.
Back to here. So if we go here, in the diff here, Bhagavatam 2:4-3-4, right? So let's have a look at the Bhagavatam 2:4-3-4, and we'll do it here in the original.
La originale.
2:4-3-4. Okay, so Śrīmad Bhagavatam 2, Cosmic Manifestation, 2:4, the process of creation, 3-4. O great sages, the great soul Maharaj Parikshit, constantly wrapped in thought of Lord Kṛṣṇa, knowing well of his imminent death, renounced all sorts of fruitive activities, namely acts of religion, economic development, and sense gratification, and thus fixed himself firmly in his natural love for Kṛṣṇa and asked all these questions, exactly as you are asking me. So Sutta Goswami is speaking to the sages at Naimisharanya. He's answering their questions, and he's going to answer their questions by recounting the story of Parikshit Maharaj, who at the end of his life gave up all his activities simply to hear about Kṛṣṇa. Now, in the Purport, Srila Prabhupada makes the parallel with the mood of Madhavendra Puri, who is the grand spiritual master of Lord Chaitanya. So Madhavendra Puri was the spiritual master of Ishvara Puri and also Ramachandra Puri, and Ishvara Puri was the spiritual master of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He takes leave of all karma kandya obligations in the following words. Now, here, the first edition. O my evening prayer, all good unto you. Bhadramastu. O my morning bath, I bid you goodbye. O demigods and forefathers, please excuse me. I am unable to perform any more offerings for your pleasure. Now I have decided to free myself from all reactions to sins simply by remembering anywhere and everywhere the great descendant of Yadu and the great enemy of Kamsa, Lord Kṛṣṇa. I think that this is sufficient for me. So what is the use of further endeavors? And look, he goes further. Mugdam nigadam tuiti nipuna brantam muhur vaidika mandam bandava sanchaya jadadiyam muktadara sudaraha unmatam danino vekachatura kamam mahatambikam mok nashemate mano govinda padaspriham. Let the sharp moralist accuse me of being illusioned. I do not mind. Experts in Vedic activities may slander me as being misled. Friends and relatives may call me frustrated. My brothers may call me a fool. The wealthy Mammonites may point me out as mad. Mammonites people. Mammon means like material wealth, riches. And the learned philosophers may assert that I am much too proud. Still, my mind does not budge an inch from the determination to serve the lotus feet of Govinda, though I be unable to do it. This is the way. And what?
Give up. See you later.
Yeah. And this is read the translation.
When your intelligence has passed it out of the dense forest, forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard.
Yes. And so on the 2nd of July, not this Sunday, but the next Sunday, we have a special episode about the Hare Krishnas at the New Zealand Parliament occupation, which is where we met. And we're going to have, and we're going to have videos from the occupation. We're going to have devotees who were there distributing prasadam from Northland, Abhay Prabhu, Puri Mantra Prabhu. We're going to have Muchakunda, Prahlad distributing books, Cam,
Isha.
Isha.
Yeah, she was there.
Yeah. So we're getting the band back together. Not this Sunday, the next Sunday. This Sunday we have Dera Govinda Prabhu.
Oh my gosh.
With effective communication. He's the founder of Satvatov Institute. He's also the author of this book here, Relationships That Work, The Power of Conscious Living. Transformative Communication Approach to Self-Realization, David B. Wolfe. That is on Sunday. And on Saturday, we have Swami Padmanabha. Do I have a picture of him here? I do, actually. I'll listen to here like this. This is from a weird article about him. Swami Padmanabha, the author of Radical Personalism. That's on Saturday, New Zealand time. This is an article about him from Yogi Times. It's an interview. Look at the questions they ask him. What is your recipe for happiness? If you were a food, what kind of food would you be? What book have you read more than once? What movie have you seen more than once? What place in the world have you traveled for pleasure? What is your favorite song here today? What's your favorite pleasure? If you were a superhero, what would your superpowers be? If you were given $1 million donation, how would you spend it? Like these questions, right? Of course, you can empower anything, but here we go. Now we're getting some good ones. If you only had 6 months to live, what would you do with that time? What would you do at the time? Oh, that's the one I wanted to hit. This is the one I wanted to hit here. If you had only 6 months to live, what would you do at the time? Well, this is Swami Padmanabha. In one sense, 6 months is a lot of time, since I do not know if I will have 6 seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, etc. left yet in this present life. So my personal attitude is to try to live life as if each moment is the last one. And I am completely sure that anyone who has this mentality will reach his or her goals more quickly and will have so many less problems. Sorry, I forgot to answer the question. I would sing to God in the company of like-minded people with as much devotion as possible.
Okay.
Yeah. Not such a great interview. Hopefully you and I can do a better job than this, right? If we can't.
A tricky question. How do you know you're happy?
Is that what it says?
No, I'm asking.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so happiness to you.
How do you know you're
personally.
happy?
Exactly. How do you know you're happy? And how do you know you're going to survive into this world, like the world that you choose of celibacy?
You know, in the Bhagavad-gita, it says that only 2 people are truly happy in this world.
What? The one that they don't know what's happiness? Oops. Sorry, I look.
No, I'm thinking.
Oh. I thought you already had the answers.
No, I do. The Bhagavad-gita, it says the self-realized and the insane.
Of course, because they don't have any understanding about it.
Yeah, they're just like they're like completely delusionally insane. Only those 2 people are happy, and they can be difficult to tell apart. Yeah. the truly self-realized person appears.
Well, I guess the insane person will bring such a like a very sharp energy, like unsettled energy. But the truly realized person, they're more settled, calm, not fixated.
Well, okay, here, this is interesting for you. So you remember that I said Madhavendra Puri was the spiritual master of Ishvara Puri?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he had his other disciple, Ramachandra Puri.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was that when Madhavendra Puri was leaving his body, he was lamenting. He was crying.
Oh dear.
Yeah, he was crying. He was saying, I have not gone to Mathura to see Kṛṣṇa. And Ramachandra Puri criticized him
Oh my gosh.
and said, why are you lamenting? Like, this is nonsense. What do you think you are, the material body? Do you not know that you are the eternal spirit soul?
Mm-hmm.
And he failed to understand, he failed to capture the devotional mood of the transcendental emotion of Madhavendra Puri. And
Yes.
he mistook it for material lamentation and misidentification with the body.
And he was insane.
Yeah, well, Ramachandra, so it's kind of like, it can be difficult to tell. It was obviously difficult for Ramachandra Puri, and then there was a later pastime in the pastime of Mahaprabhu and Jagannath Puri
Mm-hmm.
with Ramachandra Puri, who was his god uncle. He was the god brother of his spiritual master. Ishvara Puri, on the other hand, cared for Madhavendra Puri to the last moments of his life.
Oh my. That's very powerful.
Yeah, he couldn't move or anything, and so Ishvara Puri was cleaning him and feeding him and taking care of him. Yeah. Okay, Param Vijayate Sri Kṛṣṇa Sankirtanam. Thanks for tuning in. Total world victory of Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Adios.
Oh, let's chuck that in there.
Hare
Pure Angola.
Kṛṣṇa.
Hare Kṛṣṇa.